Hi folks, I'm Laird Landon. This session is on an important topic, denial. Let me start with an example of what often happens to caregivers right after a diagnosis. They may reach out to the family. That's the first place we go because they will understand what we're going through and they'll be there to help. Sometimes when we reach out, they say things like, you know Dad better than any of us. You can do this. And you say, wait a minute, why do I have to do this? Why are they pushing away? You know why? They may be in denial. They may be thinking, oh my God, I don't have time for this. I can't do this. So what I'm going to do is tell Mom she can handle it. That denial hurts us, doesn't it? We're going to talk about a lot of denial that we have as caregivers also. Let me start with some definitions. Here's one from the American Psychological Association. Denial is an unconscious process to help resolve emotional conflict or reduce anxiety. Unpleasant thoughts may be ignored or buried from conscious awareness. Listen to this, they add. For example, the refusal to acknowledge the reality of a terminal illness, or a financial problem, or an addiction, or a partner's infidelity. That hits pretty close to home, doesn't it? The more threatening the idea is, the more our unconscious mind wants to protect us, wants to help us have time to cope. Here's another definition. Britannica says, denial is the conscious refusal to see that a painful fact exists. Wait a minute, is this conscious or unconscious? The answer is yes. It can be both. And that's what makes it a very slippery thing. When someone has buried something so deeply that they cannot accept it, how do they deal with it? How do we help them deal with it? Is denial good or bad? Well, it can be either. It can be good if it really does let us have a little time so we can slowly get used to the idea and then commit to doing it. This happens, interestingly, as we talked about in the grief videos, with grief. It isn't that the person doesn't know that their loved one is dead. It's that they don't want to deal with it because they don't know what to do next. I believe all of the sadness, all of the withdrawal emotion that many feel, not all, is actually a helpful emotion because it says, I can't go out in public. I'm going to bed. I'm closing the curtains. I'm going to shut down for a while. That seems to me to be something positive, to give us time to acknowledge the loss. There are people, however, who refuse to see reality, whether it's for denial or something else. That might hurt them. Here's an example. When is the last time you thought about your own death? Probably not in a while. Most people believe, I know I'm going to die someday. I'm not denying I'm going to die, but I'm just not going to die today. I've got other things to do. What does that mean? That means many people approach their own death without having thought about it. Is that good or bad? Well, I don't know. Maybe if we were more aware we're going to die, we might prepare for it better. We might take care of things so that we don't leave a mess for others. We might even develop a bucket list and do some things that we keep putting off. So denial is very much a part of the human condition. There are a number of ways caregivers experience denial. I'd like to talk about some of them because some of them will make you remember or recognize when it's happened to you, or you may anticipate them happening in the future. Again, these are not bad things. Denial is a normal process, whether it's conscious or unconscious. Before diagnosis, did you or your friends and family notice changes going on in your loved one and blow it off? That's normal aging. Why would we do that? Because the thought that it isn't normal aging is scary and we won't want to deal with it. At diagnosis, most of the family can be in denial, as I mentioned above. We can ourselves be led astray by putting energy and money into looking for a cure for the disease that doesn't exist. We heard the disease, we heard the diagnosis, but we refuse to accept we can't do something about it. On the flip side, when people want to feel they've done everything they could, some of those actions involve things that don't work just because they want to help. When we get angry during caregiving, we get unhappy because we weren't perfect. Why does that bother us? Because we feel deep down if we were perfect, if we had caught this mistake, if I had not have left open that gate on the stair, my wife would not have fallen. That is true. But you know, we're only human. We can only do what we can do. And denial that our goal is something greater than it is can very much get in the way of us doing a good job. Placement. This happens often. A caregiver will come into their group and say, I'm not feeling so good today. I think I'm going to die before my husband Bill. What? I can't take it anymore. I'm exhausted. I'm angry with him. And someone else in the group may say, well, have you considered placement? And the person says, oh yeah, oh no, I don't need placement. I don't need it yet. Well, why do they say that? The truth is they hadn't considered placement because they are still in denial that they can fix the disease, that they can take care of them. They have ignored that they aren't sleeping. They have ignored that they're making mistakes because they're so committed to caring and doing a good job. It's very hard in group, by the way, to address that with a person. What do you say after they say, oh yeah, I know placement's down the road, but I don't need it now? My approach to that is to say, oh, of course, I understand, but you know, I think it would be a really good idea if you would investigate the memory care units in your area so that when the time comes, you'll be prepared. Go see which one you like. Check out the ones that are closer or farther away. Check out the ones you think your mother or father or husband or wife would be comfortable in. And if they do that, which makes sense, and it puts off dealing with placement directly, it allows them to be much more comfortable with it when it does come. I want you to understand that denial is with us all the time, whether we're caregivers or whether we're not. It often happens before imminent death. I've known a number of caregivers who've lost their loved one. And you know what they say? Well, I knew they were going to die someday. I just didn't know it was going to be this soon. But you know what? The signs were there. The signs were there, but we don't look for them. So it's throughout our experience, it's throughout life. It isn't necessarily good or bad. It isn't necessarily conscious or unconscious. Be aware of denial. Thank you very much.